Welcome back. Now, the new acting chairman of the KPK, Taufikur Rahman Ruki, this week told Tempo he's nobody's frontman, but a decision to transfer Budi Gunawan's case to the Attorney General's office has raised a number of questions about direction of the KPK and questions his leadership. Now, Andres, where do you think the KPK is going right now? They've got maybe nine and a half months to under his leadership.
3 years ago, I happened to have a long conversation and briefing with the KPK about pursuing corruptions in natural resources, especially forestry, plantation, palm oil, pulp and paper plantation, and also mining sector, because those are where most of the money were stolen. At one point, we told them that 2.2 billion US dollars were basically stolen from this particular sector. The KPK was interested. That's why we had a second briefing, like 5 hours. So after that, they pursue corruptions in the natural resources because this is the biggest one. Now that Taufikur Rahman handed over the case back to the Attorney General, meaning going back to the National Police, in Indonesian we call it jeruk makan jeruk.
Yeah, that's exactly the term that they've been going, that's been going around.
Jeruk makan jeruk. So the KPK is basically weakened, and people will remember Jokowi as the president who weakened the KPK indirectly.
Is this the lowest point you think that you've seen in your time?
Oh yeah, of all those 3 cases, Papua, KPK, and death penalty, and maybe also virginity testing, KPK is the biggest one for the Indonesian public. It raised the biggest concern for the public.
Now, Bambang Wijayanto once said that the KPK may be weakened from the inside. Is this the start of that process, do you think?
Yes, yes. Even KPK staff, they are pretty sad about Taufikur Rahman decision, the new board decision. And of course, we know that one of the new KPK commissioner is a former lawyer of the Suharto family.
And what do you think the future holds then for the anti-graft body under this new leadership, even though he's only going to be there for 10 months, but no one is going to know what's going to happen after that 10 months?
Let's wait. Let's wait for the selections of the new KPK leaders. I hope for the best, and a lot of people inside Indonesia do hope that the new KPK commissioner will be as good as Abraham Samad and Bambang Wijoyanto.
Now, Ross, what is your opinion or your impression on Joko Widodo's attitude towards KPK, given that he's elected before his clean track record and anti-graft stance?
Yeah, well, when you go back to this point about strong leadership, right? I mean, there's this idea that Indonesians want strong leadership with regard to the death penalty. Well, I actually think that what Indonesians really want most is strong leadership on this issue on the KPK, and that they really wanted Jokowi to come out and defend the KPK against Polri, and to say KPK is here. It is going to be completely independent from the police, and it's crucial to the future of my government. And he didn't really come out with a strong statement like that. So this is, again, is he trying to supplement weak leadership on KPK issues with allegedly strong leadership on other issues such as death penalty? And if so, then that's a concern.
Jokowi approach is always, cost and benefit. Always trying to be balanced. In the case of KPK, you cannot be balanced. You have to defend the KPK.
Perhaps he needs to differentiate that between governing any other sectors in the country. Now, where do you think is this case going? Is there
He needs to learn from Ahok. He needs to learn from Ahok. Ahok is alone, has no political party as a backup, and he fought the whole city council of Jakarta. And basically, he got what he wanted because of the public support. Jokowi should learn from Ahok. He should learn this vested interest, this oligarchy, which is encroaching into Indonesia anti-corruption campaign, human rights campaign.
Are we expecting too much, though, from one man? I mean, we've been talking a lot about what Jokowi should do. And this kind of thing, but I mean, certainly the PDIP has not been strong and is trying their best, I presume, to weaken the KPK. Certainly political parties are against the idea of a strong KPK. Can we really expect Jokowi himself to be able to stand up to all these pressures, particularly?
Well, he's not alone. The thing is, his government, his administration is not consolidated yet. It is still fluid.
Yeah.
It is still chaotic. If he can put the right person and then he can direct them into the better position, I think we could still have hope for Jokowi.
And Ross, with all the support, the media support, public support towards the KPK, do you think then KPK would a lot of media coverage on KPK in the next few 10 months or after 10 months would help KPK to somehow, because the media, people are watching through the media.
Yeah, and often this comes down to, when you look at scholarship on this, they often look as to what was the trigger point, and of course we saw this in the Chichak versus Buaya case a few years ago. Similar, in fact, to the Australian coverage now of the death penalty and those on death row. We've had this spectacle before with Chappelle Corby.
Yeah.
So it kind of just follows that method, and we're seeing that now with the KPK versus Polari stuff.
Yeah.
Journalists and media organisations falling back into this. Well, we've seen this before. Now let's get the machine running again. The interesting thing, I think, with the media coverage recently on the Polari and KPK stuff is that has those TV stations owned by politicians been particularly supportive of the KPK's plight, or have they looked more towards the position of politicians who are, of course, not wanting scrutiny? And that will be something that we'll watch develop in the next few months.
Okay, Andres, last question. What do you think Indonesia can learn from countries in the region in regards to fighting corruption, perhaps from Hong Kong or from Singapore, our closest neighbor?
Indonesia should learn from Hong Kong, obviously, because in Hong Kong they can protect the Anti-Corruption Commission from political interferences, that they are seen as a legal entity, that they are not being allowed to be criminalized by other politician or police general in that case.
Okay, all right. Andres, Ross, thank you so much for joining us on Viewpoint, and that has been the views of three very controversial, or shall we say, the topics that made the news this week right here on Viewpoint. I'm Florence Armain. Thank you for watching.